One of the other things in here that's of concern is on the death certificate, it can't say suicide. It has to say what the other underlying health issue is, whatever the other terminal disease might be. You can't say that they committed suicide. In other words, we're not going to be able to track how many people check out at the end of the government's barrel, because it's you're just not going to see it. And so the concerns that a lot of people have, well, God, is it going to be 3, 4, 5% of the people dying in Minnesota are going to be killed by government? We don't know. We won't know. And that's specifically in this legislation to not track this. And that should be a concern for a lot of people too.
And again, that's on brand and in rhythm for the Democrats. They did the same thing with the abortion bill, and the abortion bills that they passed last year, where one of the effects was we're not going to keep records anymore. We're not going to keep records of how many are happening or why or what the circumstances were, because we don't want you to know. We don't want to know at the legislature, and we don't want you to know as the people. And to me, that's just such a tell, right? Like if your underlying moral argument is correct, whether you're talking about abortion and the underlying moral argument that a mother should be able to solicit help in killing her own child if she doesn't want that child, if that is indeed a moral argument that is righteous and honorable and virtuous, why wouldn't you want to have a counter going of all of the righteous, moral, virtuous acts that are taking place in the state of Minnesota? Similarly with this, if it is in fact morally righteous and virtuous to be killing people because they're experiencing pain or suffering, or they're facing a large financial expense in order to receive hospice care for the next 3 months, 6 months, if that's the moral and correct thing to do, what are you ashamed of? Why aren't we putting that right on the death certificate? It should be a point of pride, right? If you're saying that I'd made a decision that spared my family untold expense. I made a decision that spared me unnecessary suffering, and this was the right decision. It was a good decision. Why shouldn't that be proudly displayed with honor on your death certificate? And we know the answer. The answer is because they know in their hearts, because their conscience is written by the hand of God on their heart, that this is evil and immoral and wrong and unrighteous and from the pit of hell. And they don't want any record kept of it because they don't want that shown. It's the verse that's outside my office at the state office building, John 3:19. They hated the light and they loved the darkness because their works were evil. That's what this is.